Out of 353 teams, only 68 get to participate in the prestigious March Madness tournament in NCAA men's Division I basketball. So, March Madness is the culmination of the men's Division I college basketball season. Division I meaning the highest level of competition in NCAA men's basketball. The NCAA is the main association associated with collegiate athletic events. So, in this tournament, held in late March, early April, this tournament determines the Division I men's champion for men's basketball. So, from Penn's history of the men's basketball tournament, March Madness began in 1939 with only 16 teams and has since expanded to 68 teams this year. There are two steps in playing in the tournament. You're both chosen, teams are chosen, and then teams are placed into the tournament. Today I'll be talking about both how teams are chosen and how teams are placed into the tournament. But first, I'm going to be talking about how teams are specifically chosen. So, 68 teams are selected to play in the March Madness tournament. 32 of those are considered automatic bids. What is an automatic bid? An automatic bid essentially means that you are automatically in the tournament. Duh. So in Division I college basketball, there are 32 conferences, and for each conference, there is a one team from each conference that's an automatic bid. You're automatically into the tournament. Most likely, this team won the conference tournament. So for the Gophers, the University of Minnesota, we're in the Big Ten Conference. They're the conference basketball tournament. The winner of that is an automatic bid into the tournament. Now, the other exception to this is some conferences don't have a tournament, so these conferences choose the best team based on your record against conference teams or just your overall record, which leads to some controversy because there is some question as to why some conferences have tournaments and others don't. Now, that's 32 out of 68. There's still 36 teams left. So the rest of these 36 teams are selected as at-large bids. At-large essentially just means you're not an automatic bid. So now you're one of 320 or so teams that can make the field. 36 teams are chosen. These are the best 36 teams left in the field. So how did these 36 teams get chosen? They're the best of the best teams. How do they get chosen? So the NCAA appoints a committee of 10 members to determine the fate of these 36 teams, who gets chosen. So there are no rules to this as far as how many teams you have to choose from each conference. The committee can choose just the best 36 teams. So if all 36 of those teams are from 3 different conferences, that's how it works. So beginning in 2018, the NCAA, this comes directly from the NCAA's website, they began using what's called a net system to determine what are the best teams, what are the best 36 teams, so it's not opinion-based. This system includes game results, win or loss, obviously, strength of schedule, did you play tough teams, location, did you win a lot on the road, that's deemed as being a quality of a good team, scoring margin, were you blowing teams out, and then quality of wins and losses. And how they determine this quality of wins and losses is teams are placed into a quadrant system. So out of the 350 teams in NCAA men's Division I basketball, they are all placed into 4 quadrants. Quadrant 1 being the best, quadrant 4 being the worst. You want more quadrant 1 wins. More quadrant 1 wins will look better in the committee's eyes. So the committee deliberates and they narrow it down to 68 teams. So now that the 68 teams are selected, they need to be seeded and placed into the bracket. So now teams are seeded and placed into 4 divisions, each with seeds 1 through 16. Now, if I had my PowerPoint with me, I would be showing you what the bracket looks like, but I don't. So first, how do they place these into the divisions? The committee first creates a list of all teams ranked 1 through 68. They just rank them 1 through 68. This is done by a voting system. And teams ranked 1 through 4 are deemed number 1 seeds. That means 5 through 8 are number 2 seeds, 9 through 12 are 3 seeds, and so on and so forth. These aren't final, but that's just a general guideline that they use. They deliberate and they come up with their seedings. Now they need to be placed into the tournament bracket, the actual bracket. The teams are seeded They need to be placed into the bracket, and in 4 divisions. There's South Division, the West Division, the East, and the Midwest. So how do they place teams into these divisions? So in each division, there are 16 teams, each seeded 1 through 16. The committee, they're going to try to balance out each division so that all divisions have roughly equivalent strength of teams. This is also from the NCAA website. I believe this is Cortez's article, Basketball Selections 101. So in theory, they don't want the best seed level. So they don't want the best number 1 seed, the best number 2 seed, the best 3 seed, and so forth, all in one division. They want to split these guys up so that all divisions have somewhat equal levels of play. So for example, you take the best number 1 seed, the worst number 2, the best number 3, the worst number 4, all the way down. And they do that for all 4 divisions to get an equivalent strength of field in each division. The committee also takes into account travel. So if you're a team from, say, Washington State, they don't want to put you in the South Division, so you'd have to be playing in Florida or Georgia or wherever the South Division plays. And then, so that's taken into account, but again, that's not really mandatory. It's taken into account. And then one last thing, we're talking about 68 teams here, the final 8 teams selected for the tournament. So when they did that ranking that I previously mentioned, the last 8 teams, 61 through 68, they play in play-in games. And so all 8 teams play against each other, narrow it down to 4 teams. That narrows it down to 64 teams. And this completes the field for the March Madness tournament. So obviously, these teams are selected at a lengthy process. In conclusion, not just based on your win-loss record. It's a lengthy process. Once these teams are selected, they're placed into the bracket, again, with a lengthy process. And this creates the bracket, and which allows the culmination of the tournament, which is one of the best and most revered sporting events in the world.